Hello everyone! The following is a summary of floods, a natural disaster which is profound information about human strength in facing disasters, and at the same time, a call for solidarity to combat the negative effects of climate change. Now, let's go! A flood scene that no one could have expected. Hundreds of cars and people's possessions were submerged by floodwaters. A huge economic loss, residential areas and streets. And infrastructure may be flooded, causing property damage and power outages. Agricultural areas may also be affected, causing loss of crops and the agricultural economy. On August 27, 2021, the people of the island nation of Dominica witnessed a terrible flood, causing serious consequences and loss of life and property. This was one of the worst floods in the country's history. The flood began due to the impact of a powerful storm from the Caribbean Sea. This storm brought heavy rain and strong winds, affecting the entire island of Dominica. Heavy rain continued for several consecutive days, causing rivers, streams, and forest ponds across the country to overflow. In particular, the eastern region of Dominica was the worst affected. The human consequences were sad, with more than 30 people killed and many others missing. Search and rescue efforts were urgently deployed to find and rescue people trapped in flooded areas and ensure the safety of the population. At the same time, thousands of people had to evacuate to avoid danger and find a safe place. This is one of the worst floods in Malaysia's history. The flood began due to the impact of a strong storm from the East Sea, bringing heavy rain and strong winds. This storm made landfall in northeastern Malaysia, causing heavy rain for many consecutive days. Rivers and reservoirs across the country quickly overflowed, exceeding their carrying capacity, leading to overflow and flooding. The worst affected provinces include Selangor, Kelantan, Perak, and Pahang. The consequences of the flood are staggering. Residential areas were submerged in water. Many houses were destroyed or flooded, cutting off traffic and basic infrastructure. Electricity, water, and telecommunications networks were seriously disrupted, paralyzing the daily activities of the population. Thousands of cars were sunk in the sea. Heavy rains accompanied by floods have caused streets to be flooded with water. Floods can cause serious water and food shortages. In particular, rural areas and poor communities are often the hardest hit as their resources are destroyed and they do not have enough resources to recover. The floodwaters rushed in with such strong force that people could not walk. The streets were flooded. The water flowed so fast that one person was swept away by the water. Luckily, he was saved in time by people around him. So don't drown. In July 2021, people in Germany faced an incredible flood, causing serious consequences and loss of life and property. This is considered one of the worst floods in the history of this country. The consequences of the flood were terrible. Residential areas were submerged underwater. Rivers overflowed and swept away scores of houses, causing destruction and devastation. Streets, bridges, and transportation infrastructure were heavily damaged, hindering movement and rescue. Telecommunications, electricity, and water sources were also interrupted, paralyzing the daily activities of the population. The economic consequences of the flood were also huge. Many stores, businesses, and farms were destroyed or suffered heavy damage. Manufacturing and industrial facilities were also paralyzed, causing job losses and adversely affecting the local and national economy.